Buenas tardes, señores, muy buenas tardes, bienvenidos, ya casi noches, bienvenidos a un programa más de Conexión MLS. Yo soy Jorge Iturralde, hoy es miércoles 17 de julio de 2025. Les damos la bienvenida. Si usted ve un poquito anaranjada la pantalla, no ajuste su televisión, ni su teléfono, ni su iPad, ni nada. Hoy estamos anaranjados porque, pues, Víctor, primeramente, feliz cumpleaños, Víctor, que fue la semana pasada. Creo que cumpliste el doble de lo que compró el
doble del Dynamo.
de lo que cumplió el Dynamo, pero el otro, por otro lado, sí, cumpleaños del Dynamo, vamos a dedicarle. Tenemos unos videos, señores. Club Deportes, pues nosotros cubrimos el partido. Primeramente, saludos, Víctor, ¿cómo estás?
Como siempre, un placer, Jorge, estar aquí en Conexión Conexión MLS.
Ahora, ponle Conexión Dynamo.
La vieja costumbre.
Vamos a ponerle Conexión Dynamo.
Hoy, Conexión Dynamo.
Conexión Dynamo. Y vamos a mandar saludos a la gente de Los Ángeles que nos ve. No se vayan, vamos a tener un programa muy bueno porque este es histórico. Tengo unos videos de hace 20 años, de hace 18, 17, que fui juntando del Dynamo cuando nosotros en Club Deportes cubríamos al equipo de Houston, lo cubríamos muy seguido. Invité yo a Lester Gretsch, que es el que fue director de comunicaciones del equipo como 10 años, ¿no? ¿Qué te gusta, Víctor?
Y bueno, y de la primera etapa del equipo.
De la primera etapa del equipo.
Y el vínculo para los medios en español.
Y yo creo que se quedó como 10 años, ya después de ahí se fue a Univisión y ahorita anda en una parte del gobierno, si no me equivoco, en Capital Metro, que lo vi por ahí. De repente nos llegó un reportaje en Austin Latino y lo veo que está declarando. Y usted está haciendo este güey ahí. Sí era de. Pero le mandamos un abrazo a Lester. Por supuesto, me decía Lester, muy amable, me manda el mensaje que me contestó. Me decía, es que esto, el Dynamo fue también un éxito gracias a ustedes, me dijo, ¿no? Pues es que en realidad el Dynamo, como llegó, de la forma en la que llegó, primero déjame preguntarte, también. No se vayan, vamos a cambiarle al inglés en cuanto tengamos aquí a Glenn Davis, que es un histórico del Dynamo. Glenn Davis, ahorita me decía Víctor que platicando con él un día le dijo que él narró la primera final. Digo, Glenn Davis ha narrado mundiales, ha narrado partidos con Fox Sport y es una personalidad gigantesca en Houston del deporte, Víctor. Ya se me atoró. Víctor.
En inglés, pues bueno, sigue siendo esa voz y sigue siendo una conexión con la comunidad que a mí me gustaría que el club le diera un poco más de entrada, porque creo que a veces no toma toda la ventaja de esa conexión que tiene Glenn con la comunidad de Houston, con los diferentes vamos a decir, los sectores de fútbol aquí en Houston, los diferentes clubes, de las diferentes demográficas, pero bueno, cada cosa ya entraremos.
Sí, y también hay que preguntarle a él, o sea que, bueno, ya lo tendremos aquí, ya le preguntaremos. Víctor, voy a empezar a poner un video donde el video dura 30 minutos, son los 30 minutos que fui juntando, vienen videos del 2005, del 2006, del 2007 y creo que del 2008 y 2009. O sea, prácticamente nosotros, Víctor, tú llegaste a conocer Club Deportes cuando estabas pues, en tus años mozos.
Quizás, bueno, no en el de forma física, obviamente, porque no estaba en Austin. Y no sé si lo alcancé a ver acá.
Ahorita.
O sea, no sé si distribuían acá en Houston.
No, pero de repente andábamos en todos los partidos. ¿Qué hacías tú en el 2005? ¿High school?
Sí. Por ahí. Sí, creo que sí, ya saliendo.
¿Ya saliendo de high school? Pues entonces,
ya los últimos años.
Entonces ya rebasaste el doble del aniversario. Pero bueno, mira, esas son imágenes de aquel famosísimo Robertson Stadium. ¿Sabes que en aquella época, Víctor, era una forma de cubrir, o no sé si porque el Dynamo, nosotros nos acercamos mucho con ellos, pero de verdad, de repente nos daban, un día me hablaron de la parte de comercialización, o no sé cómo se se le pueda decir, y nos dijeron, no, ¿sabes qué? Les regalamos 50 boletos. Estábamos en Austin, cabrón. O sea, para ir a Houston ahorita un partido, dices, no, hombre, ni de la selección, ahorita ya, así como está la vida, ni de la selección. Pero nosotros, juntábamos gente y sí nos íbamos en grupos. Llegamos a hacer camiones de gente porque Houston, Víctor, sí nos dio una pasión a la gente de Texas. No como Dallas. Houston sí nos creó una pasión y ahí andábamos siguiendo al equipo. En el primer equipo, ¿no? Que ni siquiera un mexicano tenía.
Y pues hasta la fecha hay gente en Austin que vive en Austin, son fanáticos de Houston desde que fueron aquellos años. Algunos, uno que otro sí, camaleón sí se cambió, ¿no? Al Austin FC, pero creo que los que fueron para Houston, bueno, no pasó como el Dallas que se tatuaron a menos no creo.
No, y aquí también.
Bueno, Dallas con el de Austin encima.
Sí, mira, esas imágenes que están ahí son de una semifinal, de una final de conferencia.
Sí. Esto es historia pura, por cierto.
Sí, esta es una final de conferencia con, si no me equivoco, era el Real Salt Lake. ¿Dónde jugaba ¿Te acuerdas dónde jugaba
Kansas.
Kansas,
¿no?
Kansas, sí.
Kansas City Wizards.
Sí. El Kansas City Wizards. ¿Dónde jugaba el técnico que es argentino-americano? Ahorita me voy a acordar cómo se llama. Pero mira, ahí estaban levantando la copa. ¿Qué fea estaba, güey, la copa de conferencia? ¿O sigue siendo igual?
Ya no la dan, de hecho.
¿Ya no la dan?
No, al menos de que...
No, sí la dan. El año que ganó el AFC a Austin, Carlos Vela la levantó.
Es de plata. Es de plata.
Es de plata, sí, ahora es de plata. Ese era de vidrio, quién sabe si... Ahí está tu presidente, mira.
Ahí está.
Que en aquel entonces ya tendría un 40, ahorita debe tener.
Ahí está Lester, por cierto, mira.
Ahí estaba Lester. ¿Te acuerdas de?
Ahí estaba Lester.
Jaime Moreno, venezolano, que después de aquí. Alejandro Moreno. Estuvo 2 años, fue campeón los 2 años y después fue campeón al año siguiente con Columbus. Fue tricampeón él en 3 años. Y bueno. Las imágenes, pues, ¿qué te puedo decir, Víctor? Es así como tú dices, ¿no? Un recuerdo increíble.
No, es historia.
¿Qué te acuerdas, güey? ¿Qué te acuerdas de ese?
O sea, yo no sé qué otro medio tenga tanto recuerdo de esta manera. O sea, esto debería. Si yo fuera del club, yo te pediría las imágenes para tenerlas archivadas.
Y se las daría con todo gusto, pero no me dejan entrar, güey. Así es que, quién sabe. Pero mira, ese video es con la gente por ahí. Pero ahorita vas a ver, porque mira, se la llevaron a la gente. O sea, increíble la forma de que... era lo que te estaba diciendo. O sea, la forma en la que Lester y toda la gente de comunicación nos daban boletos, nos daban... yo llegaba allá o les hablaba por teléfono, oye, necesito que me pongan a Dominic Quinier o alguien de los que tú, pues sí, el que tú quisieras, y te lo ponían sin problema, güey, te decían, ok, de verdad, esa forma en la que FC Dallas, porque también cubríamos a Dallas, era una semana ir a FC Dallas y una semana ir con Houston Dynamo, pero esa pasión que se vivía en Dynamo no la vivía Dallas, ni de broma. En Dynamo se vivió, y ¿sabes qué, Víctor? Hay una imagen que ahorita tú vas a ver en el estadio de Dallas, es anaranjado completamente, cabrón. O sea, viajaron, ¿qué te gusta? 17,000 personas allá al estadio del Dynamo.
De Frisco.
Perdón, sí. De Frisco. Increíble, ¿verdad? Ok, vamos a cambiar. We're gonna switch in English porque ya tenemos a nuestro amigo Glenn Davis. Permítame tantito, por ahí vamos. Mr. Glenn Davis, bienvenido. Welcome, how are you?
Hi, Jorge. How are you? Victor, hello. Victor's seen a little bit too much of me, I think, as of late. Jorge, how you been?
Everything good. I will really appreciate to have you here. And I have some videos that I'm sharing with you. 2000, I think this is 2006. This is an archive from Club Deportes. 2006. Victor was telling me that you announced the final game
on radio. Yeah,
on radio.
2006 MLS Cup final. Yes.
How was it? Tell me your experience. Tell me your experience of the first years of Dynamo.
Yeah, I think it was a spectacular time because, professional soccer had come and gone here so many different times. The last type of professional soccer we had was the indoor game in the Summit, right, which essentially is a different sport. So when professional soccer returned, it returned in a big, big way. And I think one of the things that a lot of people discovered that weren't following MLS was that you were inheriting one of the best teams in an 11 or a 12 team league that was immediately going to compete for championships. But the thing that I remember most is just the excitement around everybody coming back to the stadium, seeing professional soccer again. I think we were primed for it at the time. A lot of people did a lot to try and draw attention to the Houston market at that time. So it was a spectacular beginning, and that in combination with a group of guys that were all willing and still fighting for the growth of the sport to get into the community really led to the perfect cocktail. And then you throw in winning with that, which everybody likes to win. And then, you go on this remarkable run, and then you got this huge MLS Cup final. You got your local guy who's in sports, a guy named Jim McInvale, Mattress Mac, hiring buses. Everybody rides up there, and it's incredibly memorable, and it's hard to believe it was 20 years ago.
And what do you think about? Because I was telling Victor that day, on 2006, that day on Frisco, it was orange. All the fans and everything was orange. I mean, it was like a really, really new, big, and good fan base that Houston built in a very short time.
Yeah, I think part of that is the novelty. Part of that was the return. And then part of that built as this team was successful in winning. But you have to remember, you only get one curtain raiser. The curtain raiser was a 4-goal performance from Brian Ching. It was a packed house. There's no better way to get it off and running. And I think people are having a good time at Robertson Stadium, too, with soccer. It wasn't corporate. It wasn't overly commercial. The Dynamo essentially were renters in the stadium. You could tailgate much more loosely. You could drink beer. There was a lot of personal connection. This team had to go on the field and literally walk through the crowd in order to get onto the field. So there was all this personal and organic connection between player and fan base, which we all know is important.
And media, no? And media, because it was a very...
Yeah, absolutely, because the real media connection was Oliver Luck. And Oliver Luck was a respected figure in Houston, as we all know, truly understood the sports business, had success, and had been a part of NFL Europe. That's where a lot of his soccer expertise and love of the game came from as well. But, just a lot of things fell together. But there was a lot of organic, too. And that's the thing that now the element to me now is a bit contrived. Back then, things happened on their own because you set up a great environment. And when you set up a great environment, when you respect the fan base, when you respect the city, when you have connection with the players, when you win, when you show people that you're competing, it can all come together. And then it spurs off all these other branches of organic stuff that really becomes free advertising for the club, free marketing, but then it becomes one big familia, one big family.
But you're saying, I think, Glenn, the team, the 2025, 24, 23 team lost a lot of stuff. And I was wondering, and I think I called you probably a couple of years ago. I say, why, Glenn, you are not on Apple TV? I mean, you are the icon of the team, and people like you. Why the club doesn't back you up to be there? Because you're the voice of the Dynamo.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder. That's bothered me in the past. I think I'm pretty much over that now. Things happen in professions. I wish I would have had a little bit more support from higher ups. I've never done anything in this game out of nothing but love. I mean, the generation came in to this sport did not come into it because there was some financial reward. We came into it because we were all just passionate about it. I mean, I could whip off 20, 30, 40, 50 of my friends that are all still involved in soccer in the age bracket that I'm in. None of us got into it because we thought we were going to become guys that are making a lot of money. We grew up in neighborhoods and places that absolutely passionately love the game. No different than South America or anywhere else in the world. We all had a passion for the game, and we wanted to be a part of it. And there wasn't a lot of opportunity. And I think my story, Jorge. I know Victor does. That I was just fortunate to get a break in television, and then decided, well, I'm going to start creating my own jobs, radio and other things, because I wanted to grow the sport. I was looking at it and saying, well, why does NBA, NFL, and MLB have talk shows that talk about soccer? Their sports. Why can't we do that? So to answer your question, I don't know. I think I had a lot more to offer, but you can only do what the group really wants you to do.
And I want to believe that. Since your heart, it's on the Dynamo from the beginning. I want to believe that the money was a second thought. First, your answer will be yes, and then how much will be the payment? I want to say that.
Yeah, listen. Everybody wants to make a living.
Of course.
I'm not saying. I wasn't talking about my TV career. Of course, I wanted to make money and make a living. We all have to do that. I'm talking about my entry into it and where my mindset was in before that. I never made a lot of money. I ran a youth soccer club at $30,000 a year tops. But I loved working and mentoring youth players before I got a break in TV. Did I enjoy making more income? Absolutely.
No,
yes.
I probably didn't say my question right. A ver, Víctor, ayúdame. Digo que primeramente sería decir sí por su pasión con Dynamo y después lo que sea.
No, sin duda.
Pero pero pregúntale, güey.
Sin duda.
Pero pregúntale.
I think you kind of understood the question, right? He said the way you probably go about it is, you probably say yes first, and then the payment always, you forget to ask how much to get paid up front.
Yeah,
the payment always comes secondary.
Yeah,
especially from Dynamo.
This is what I tell young people too. Initially in your radio and TV career, it's not about the money. It's about getting the experience and building up your dossier and your resume. You guys know this. You both have done the same thing.
Yes.
I think all three of us are similar in nature in that we all love the game. We've all pushed to get opportunity, have gotten opportunity. Maybe I've gotten a few more breaks than you guys. But on the whole, we want to be involved in the game. And we think we have the expertise to be guys that help grow it. And I think we should all be proud of that, quite frankly, because we go about it in a way that we're not first and foremost making sure we say the right things to get the jobs. We're saying what's in our heart. And I think, the sport of soccer needs more of that in this country. It needs more reality. It needs more one individual's truth. Doesn't mean we're correct all the time, but this is the kind of dialogue we want to have.
What do you remember the most of those 2005 and 2006?
When the team arrived back, well, first, obviously the happiness of the fan base. I think we talked about that.
But tell me what.
Team.
Tell me about Glenn Davis. What do you enjoy more?
In that time period?
Yes, yourself. When you heard that Dynamo was going to be there.
I love the ritual of going to the stadium. I was excited about it coming. I was writing for the Houston Chronicle at the time, so. Jorge, Victor knows this. I must have wrote the article of MLS to Houston, 25 times in 25 different ways. And then obviously we got the big international content, and that put eyeballs on Houston. But the ritual of going to the stadium and going to training and watching this club grow, watching it spread its wings in the community, seeing the interest grow, because they were such a successful team, and the media saw that there were people, wow, really interested in this. Well, they were forced to cover it. We had beat writers back then on the Houston Dynamo, guys that were writing and going to practice every day. We don't have that anymore. So the ritual of going to the stadium and then parking and going through the lot. And, I always gave a little more time to get through the lot because you were always talking about the game with all these very excited people about the sport, and you had fun, and you walked to your car and somebody'd hand you a beer, and, they'd be in the same place every game, and crowds were good, and, kids were there getting influenced by these players up close and personal. So we knew we were kind of compounding the excitement, because as we all know, there's nothing better than little kids in the stadium looking at their heroes and then saying, hey, I want to do the same thing one day. So loved it all. Loved the players. I loved their personalities. There was lots of different personalities, but I did feel a kinship with these guys, because playing in the 80s here, you had to do a lot of clinics and sell the sport, and I still felt there was a part of this team and these guys that still really understood that in a very big way and knew that the sport was not yet stable.
And what do you think? I'm sorry, Víctor, ¿tienes algo? I'm gonna ask one more and then I'll let you, Víctor. No, but it's Houston. You need to ask Glenn. You probably talk to him all the time, but we need to know, what do you talk to him? On this, probably I'm going to ask both of you. What do you think about the difference between Oliver Luck and now Pat Ostend? What is the difference on the presidency?
You want to go first, Victor, or do you want me to go first?
Well, it's not the same position, first of all.
Well, go ahead.
Oliver Luck was the front office. Maybe by title, Pat, it's quote unquote front office, but Pat's really the general
Do you remember who was the sporting director?
Title's president of soccer operations. Oliver was the president over the entire club. So he had to have the vision, and he had to hire. I mean, they had to put this together very, very quickly, but I'll let Victor continue.
That was it. He was the face of the front office, but I think maybe we didn't know what we had at the time. Very accessible, always was there to shake hands and talk to fans and be that connection, that personal connection to fans that we lost after Oliver Luck went away.
Yeah, I would agree with Victor. I knew what to expect with Oliver because I was friends with him prior. So I knew and spoke with him a lot while he was putting the team together, offered him suggestions for people in positions and things like that. He is what you call a face of a franchise. This club has not had a face of a franchise. And that has to be somebody that understands Houston, has passion for the sport, and can talk to people, but more importantly, listen to people. Club has never had that guy since, not even close. It's outside hires. MLS, in a way, does hire a lot of people.
That's right, because Luck was based out of Houston for a bunch of years before.
He was a Houston Oilers.
He was already here.
Yeah, raised his family here, had the connection to soccer through NFL Europe. But, this position of a face of a franchise is important. It can't be somebody that hides in their office all day long. It can't be somebody that pretends in Houston to understand the passion of soccer, because this is a very educated soccer market. As you know, Jorge, you've been in it. Victor knows this as well. We're educated. You can't disrespect the soccer public here, and you can't sell them a bill of goods. And if you're not being upfront and honest with the soccer community, you're going to run into problems. And that's why the stadium's half empty all the time.
Víctor?
I'm just mesmerized by some of these images. I was telling
these
Jorge,
are great images, by the way.
this is pure history. This is, again, if I was the club, I'd ask for a copy of this just to have as a, if you ever build a museum or compile some of the stuff. I mean, this is, I can't imagine a lot of outlets here in Houston having any of this footage. Maybe, in the vaults of some of the TV stations, but I don't even think you could compile. I mean, I could watch this stuff all day.
You guys don't have one like this, right?
Bringing back a lot of great memories. Yeah.
Okay, I got this one. I got this one. I love this one. Let me see. Oh, it's signed also. Holden, yes.
Yeah.
He was a really good kick. But one thing that I have that I really keep it like a treasure. Let's see, this one you see, it's still there. I haven't taken it out. Let me see.
Yeah, I got one of those somewhere. I have one of those somewhere. I have actually the first name of the club T-shirt when they named it Jorge.
186, right?
18. What was it?
1836.
1836.
Yeah, I have one of those T-shirts.
Really? That's on eBay. It will be expensive.
Yeah, that was an interesting moment because the controversy created a lot of publicity. It was really
Do you think it was intentional?
What's that?
Do you think it was intentional?
No.
No. This is really. I'm gonna put it in. I don't know. It's that yeah, man. It's. I talked to Lester. I just talked to Lester Gretsch. Glenn, I talked to him just a little while ago, and I said, "Hey, please be with us. We want you on the podcast because Lester is part of the history. He was there for how long? For like 10 years?
Yeah, he was working for the club, sure.
He was like,
There's Oliver Luck there.
I remember him or me saying, you know what, Lester, we want to, interview Dominic Kinnear. Okay, give me 1 second. Like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes later, Dominic Kinnear was already on the phone. And with any guy, even Brian Ching, who was the star, a national team and everything, we want to talk to Brian Ching. Okay, let me tell you, probably not today, but tomorrow. But all the time was like a yes. Let me figure how to.
Yeah, but you got to remember that's due to the time period. That's due to the time period. That's still a league fighting for relevancy, right? And I think people were more understanding of that. Now we've moved forward here. We have all these incredible stadiums. We have more money in the league. We have more sponsorship dollars in the league, and we've lost a lot.
But it's still
the Dynamo have certainly lost that, and that affects them in putting people in the seats.
Definitely. That was like a free propaganda for them.
And everybody's like, how do we turn it around? All you have to do is look back to the past and see a couple of really simple things that were working and institute them in your club. And it's a blind refusal. It really is kind of incredible.
And you know what, Glenn?
Like people don't want it to turn the corner. It's like I mentioned on my radio show last night. It's existing. It's existing.
And this is something that teams, because I talked to the people from Dallas, and those guys are like really, really cool. And I asked for interviews or something, and it's cool. But what Houston has and Austin, what Houston does and Austin does is killing the stands. If you see Austin right now, the stadium, it's 70%, 60%, and we're going lower because right now it's there is no enough coverage for the team. We used to be on. I remember when Houston, when I used to travel to Houston to do that, we were like 15, probably, Glenn, 15 people covering the team.
Yeah.
How many you guys covered the team today?
Mainstream media really doesn't cover it, except in smaller ways. There's no beat writers. It doesn't make. On occasion, it'll make some of the news channels, like the U.S.-Mexico game always will. But it's really kind of out of sight, out of mind. We don't have home and away radio like every other pro team here in Houston. So there's a lot of essential ingredients missing. Might be because of offloading expenses by ownership. I don't know. I don't know the books. But I think the general and the soccer fan that looks closely at the Dynamo is kind of looking at it and saying, well, what have you done for me lately? I want to come back, but you're not giving me enough to come back to support the club. And the Apple deal, I think, hurt all the markets, in my opinion. I think local coverage is massive, but now it's really a handful of podcasters. All props to them, but nobody's asking real questions, that are healthy, critical questions that should be asked of any pro team, of any team president, of any GM, and all that. So, these are necessary ingredients to grow a club and its interest. People just don't want to hear everything's great and we're trying to put the team together, in a league that has 18 playoff spots. They want to hear some debate. They want to hear some conversation. They want to hear somebody challenge the players and their performances and challenge the tactics of the coach. This is all part of being a professional, but it doesn't really happen down here. So healthy criticism does not exist in this market for the MLS product, that's for sure.
But when you do that, when you ask them, they get upset. And it's like nobody wants to talk to you. So I think it's something that we need to have a better. I don't want to talk about communications. I think we need to have a better precedence, better people that on the top that can do the correct training or goal for the team. Because
I agree, and I know Victor's talked a lot about this. I talk a lot about this too. Listen, this is a league set up for investors, okay? Now, is this investor going to have real passion for the game? No. Or are they simply here to park their money? And the way this league is set up as a centralized league, it makes it very conducive to those types of ownership groups. And those ownership groups are in it for investment. And if a fan base doesn't demand more, and is it really more active? I mean, I don't know how the message couldn't be any clearer to the Dynamo as a club. And I say this respectfully. If people aren't showing up to your games, I think you got to kind of get the idea that it ain't happening with them. You don't have mainstream coverage. You don't have the real debate. We try to bring some of that in some of our smaller radio shows and writing and posting, but it's hard. And it does, I will say it really upsets me. It really does. Because having been a guy who was playing in high school stadiums and NFL stadiums and loved the game and tried to grow it here in Houston, and a lot of my teammates, we want to see the Dynamo thrive and be the pinnacle of what soccer should be in this town. And I'm not sure you can actually say that. You can say that from the standpoint they're in MLS, but I don't think the community says this is where I got to be. And that's the way it should be. They should be number one. They should be producing kids that are going into the first team from their academy that are playing on it. They should have people in the front office with soccer knowledge and passion, knowledge of Houston. Then you can say your community. But until you do that, you're not community. You can say it all you want.
Yeah, I mean, Víctor, I really agree with you.
No,
I really agree with you. I mean, I really agree with you, but I'm the bad guy here in Austin. So actually, I want to hear Víctor saying your comment, Víctor.
I'm just going to repeat the same thing, so it'd be like a broken record. But I'll add this. And I don't think it's said enough either. And I see a lot of these images too.
Hey, there is Lester.
It's not just media; it's the former players. And I'll tell you, because I've, and especially when I was more of a fan, and I was a big Brian Chink fan, and I'm disappointed. We never hear any criticism from a Brian Ching or a Stuart Holden or a Pat Onstad or any of the guys that you see here on screen. Onstad's obviously working for the club now, so it's not like he's going to say, yeah, we're trash or any of the, but when you just toe the company line, you don't necessarily address some of the issues. I think that's the problem. Ching, I think, could have one of the biggest voices in this town with the pedigree that he still has with the club, and he doesn't use it. You never hear him say, why is our stadium empty? You never hear him, he doesn't have to completely bulldoze the club with criticism, but I think, they have to say something. And instead, they've been completely the opposite. They've almost been like the cover-up for the team. And I think that's another part of it. And, these are all factors that have just...
Can I add something?
Go ahead.
The Dynamo have not been good over the years, Jorge, in, number one, hiring people from the community, but number two, retaining the smartest and the brightest of their players, right? The Craig Weibels of the world, who are now, running Seattle Sounders as I believe a GM or a sporting director. Brad Davis,
Wade Barrett
brought back. Eddie Robinson could have been in a role. They haven't been the best at that, and they've allowed people to leave who have gone on to do great things in the league. So they haven't been good at hiring those. I think a lot of that was because those in hiring were intimidated, and we're only going to hire people that were a little bit more pliable and controllable, and didn't have higher ambition, right? Right? Like Craig Weibel, let me tell you, he was helping me with cancer clinics. He was an assistant coach at Rice University unpaid. This guy, you could see from a mile away that if you were the Dynamo and you knew he was getting to the end of his career, this guy had to be hired. No question. Not we're going to think about it. Had to be hired, and could have been hired very economically, and would have been a guy that would have come up with ideas, would challenge people. And this is the problem. We have such a protective environment, and it is very political, I believe.
When you start your conversation, you said that the fans are not, I don't know if you said fool. I don't know if you say stupid, but I think you say the fans know what are they supporting, right? And when these teams, and I'm talking about the 2025 actually Dallas is not the same. When you heard about some teams in 2025 thinking that the ownership, I'm talking the management, not the ownership, because as you say, sometimes the ownership, they don't even know what the people down below are doing. Like, I want to know what my owner is going to think about spending $12.5 million on a second division guy. But the owner is not going to answer because he doesn't know. I want to believe he doesn't know, and he's letting people doing things. And I think this is happening in these years, Glenn and Victor. I think what the owners are trying to make is money. They are not really focusing in soccer because, they probably focus on the community. They give $50,000 a year to a neighborhood. They give whatever, but they don't build teams, Glenn, to be champions.
Yeah, we want to win. I'm a competitor.
The fans want to win.
I want to win. I want to see attractive football. I want it to weave the entire community in. I want a playing style that's identifiable with the fan base. That's a really cool thing to produce. And don't tell me we're going to be hardworking and on the front foot. I want more than that. I think it is an investment league, like I did say before, Jorge. It does allow for investment, But, without real healthy pressure down here, it's very easy. And I know this for fact because I know this has happened to me personally, that if you don't get pressure from the outside and people questioning you, you can become extremely comfortable. And I almost feel as though people are accepting of where this club is in this town right now. And the fans are intelligent, actually. I think there's all kinds of different fans. There's certainly fans that just want to show up to the game, don't really care about winning and losing, and are going to go have a good time. It's a very social thing. That's okay. There's nothing wrong.
Don't talk about Dallas, please. Don't talk about Dallas.
We're not in Buenos Aires with Boca Juniors. We're never going to be that.
True.
So let's be fair here.
True.
We're going to get that type of fan, but there's also
but we don't even try to be that. That's the issue. That's part of the issue. You don't even try to copy some of those things. You don't try to build
the authentic,
the passion for the club.
Yeah, Victor's right. I look at everything in the way the team is marketed. It's rap music. It's social thing. All this, and we're so overboard.
It's everything but soccer.
Yeah, but how Victor?
We're losing sight of the authenticity of the game in a city full of people who authentically love the actual playing of the game and really don't give a damn what kind of sushi they're going to get at the game. There's a lot of those people out there, and they are what you call unique fans, and they are all available, but you have to go get them.
But how are you going to go and get them, Glenn, if you announce that you're going to bring an Ukrainian or a guy from Africa or from Uzbekistan to the team? What kind of passion you're going to build with this kind of stuff? I mean, we're not Miami, we're not LA, we're just a team to, to be there.
Yeah, I think Houston had moments, and I think fans can look at this and equate this with ambition. Look, San Diego, I get it. They're an expansion team. Chucky Lozano, right? We had Hector Herrera here. I don't think we marketed him well at all. But you do have to have a fulcrum and a star, I think, in these days, especially in Houston after we've gone so many years here, with a really flatline team, not a lot of excitement. You have a spectacular season with Herrera in 2023. Maybe one of the greatest single-season performances of any player. I'd argue that, no question. To watch him every night orchestrate and run the Houston Dynamo, that was special. And fans connected with that. But, we had a crack at signing a James Rodriguez. I think people here want to see us make a bold move, to try and blow the business up on another level. And then fix things. But there's a lot of things that have to be fixed. There's no question. And I mentioned a couple of them already. But it's multi-pronged.
I'll add to this. I think when it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter if the connection is there, because what matters is what people care about, the badge. And when people see that the club themselves, the people in charge, don't care about the badge. That's why over the years you've had fans say, what, if they don't care, then why should I? And it's sad that it gets to that point, but that's where the Houston Dynamo have gone. And I think if you had that connection, again, then you bring whoever. Bring somebody from second division, bring whoever, as long as they play for the badge and they're trying to make this club win. I think that would resonate, but again, it's just you've lost a lot of that, which is why you need to, make big moves to prove that you care about the badge again.
Yeah, it's not one or the other, right? You can have a star, but then you can still build sub-stars and a style of play and everything. And I'm with Victor on this. I just think that, this organization, in a lot of ways, so many people come and go in the front office. It's like a frog going from one lily pad to another. It's almost like when I see some of the people that have come and gone, it's like, oh, I know they're not going to be here long. I know they're here to catapult somewhere else, or this is a temporary stop because I needed to pick up a job and then I'm going other places. I don't see people here that are for the long haul. And if you got them jumping in and out in front office positions, I'm not talking about the accountant. I'm talking about presidents, people that have a vision for the club and are supposed to produce the vision and then execute it. When you see people moving in and out all the time, how can you expect to ever establish anything? And how can you expect to raise the bar? Bar needs to be raised. Bar needs to always be raised. You can't be content. When we moved to the stadium, and what was it, 11, Victor? The new stadium?
2011. No, 2012.
12.
May 2012.
Okay. When we moved to that stadium, I never forget observing everything that was going on. And I remember sitting in the TV booth because I was trying to absorb it all so I'd feel it and remember it. I remember watching behavior of people in the front office, and there was a lot of this, and this was the time to be working the most hardest when you moved over to this stadium. This was the time to be putting the pedal to the metal, per se. And I saw a lot of comfort. I saw a lot of people taking advantage of the novelty of a stadium because the stadium itself was selling itself out. But that was going to go away and fade. And it was almost predictable. And then you started to
like
see
it has in Austin.
Right? And then it could be happening in Austin. Then you start.
It's going to happen in Austin.
It could happen
It's
in San
going to
Diego. It
happen
could
in
happen
Austin.
in any MLS market.
Then you see the product now, less investment in the product. The product now is becoming boring, laborious, slow, and you see people getting disinterested. And you see longtime season ticket holders now not getting enough entertainment value, starting to fade away. And then ultimately we get to where we are now, and you've lost this amazing base of people that were so in tune with this team, wearing the jerseys, buying the merchandise, personal connection with the player, and they're all gone. Now they were going to be your fire starters because of their kids and grandkids. They were your unofficial organic salespeople, and they're all gone. And a lot of them left with a very bitter, unappreciated taste in their mouth. Nobody's ever going to say that here. Nobody who's ever worked for the organization is going to say that. No ex-players are going to say that. But I'm going to say that because that's the truth. And unless you know the truth, you're not turning it around.
Glenn, Victor, I would like to invite you to do a 2-point, this show, part 2. I want to invite Lester. Because Lester has to say a lot of stuff about what we are talking right now, because he lived, he was the witness of that change of being, because he also changed a lot after they moved to the new stadium. I mean, it was different, believe me. It was like very opening on the Robertsons, and then all of a sudden we are in a new stadium, new facilities, top of the MLS, everything cute, but now there are restrictions, and now you don't do this, and now there is a smaller place, so we don't give credentials to everybody. So it changed a lot when they moved from Robertson's to the new stadium. So I would like to invite Lester to see what he can tell us about it. So I want to invite you, Glenn. I want to invite you, Victor, to a second part. What do you think?
No problem. For you, Jorge, no problem.
Oh, thank you, Glenn. And Victor, well, yeah, I know Victor says yes. He loves. Yeah, he's a very big, passionate guy, and he talks about Houston all the time with passion for the results, with passion when he won the Open Cup, he was walking in underwear right there in the Capitolio, in the Capitol.
I didn't hear about that. Can I hear
That's not true.
With beers and everything. No, not true. Okay, so guys, we're gonna close off right now. First of all, thank you, Glenn, for being with us, and I really thank you your time. I know you said you had a short time and we extended 20 minutes. Thank you very much, Glenn.
anytime, Jorge, you know that me and Victor are going to go to the stadium tonight and see what the Dynamo Vancouver holds for us.
Well, Vancouver is not doing well in the last 2 games, so I wish you good luck. Víctor, muchas gracias.
No, cuando sea, Jorge, ya sabes.
Okay, so guys, we're gonna do this at the same Houston Dynamo 20 years part 2. We're gonna have Lester. We're gonna wait for Lester to see, because he works now in the government, so on Capital Metro. So we're gonna wait for him to have a little gap, and then we get together and we talk a lot about what these guys are talking. It's really, and I want to say everything that Glenn and Victor are talking today. It's something that can happen to any team in MLS if they don't follow the right steps. I will say that. So thank you guys, and muchas gracias a todos ustedes.
Thank you, Jorge.